So here we are again on we're starting a new standard, ARCH.7.RP.A.3.7.1f. The learning target is I can use proportional relationships to solve multi-step ratio and percent problems. So we will start with a ratio and percent problem. For example, if 20 people were at a party and 16 people ate hamburgers, what percent of the people ate hamburgers? So the first thing you need to realize when you're working on a ratio and percent problem is that you want to set it up like a proportion. So you know you have 16 people who ate hamburgers, so let's just put 16 hamburgers, and there are 20 people in total at the party. So when you're setting up this proportion, you always want to put 100 in the denominator of a percent problem, even though the x value can be greater than or less than 100. In this case, remember, we're asking how to get from 20 to 100 using a factor. And if you weren't sure or aren't sure that it's 5, you can always take 100 divided by 20 to get your scale factor. And in this case, since the scale factor is 5, we also want to multiply the numerator by 5. So 16 times 5. You can use your calculator to verify. 16 times 5 is equal to 80. So we know that x equals 80. And we put 80 here. But that's not the answer yet because you want a percent of the people who ate hamburgers. So really it's 80 over 100 is correct. But if you want to use the percent sign, well, I also made a decimal. You can write the number 80, you keep the numerator, and move your decimal back 2 places. That's what it means to divide by 100. But you can also keep your numerator and eliminate the 100 and just use the percent sign next to the number 80. And that's also your correct solution. Next, we're going to solve a simple interest problem. The formula for simple interest is I equals P times R times T. Could do this. I stands for interest, P stands for principal, R stands for rate, and T stands for time. So we have a real-world problem whereby a loan company charges 35% interest on every dollar borrowed. If you borrow $177, how much interest would you owe? So remember, 35 cents for every dollar. You can write it 35 cents or 0.35. When using the simple interest formula, I equals P times R times T, you don't know what the interest is, that's what you're solving for. The principal is the amount of money that you borrowed, $177. The rate is 35 cents, 0.35. And since they don't give a time, you use the number 1. So if you multiply 177 times 35, you get $61.95. So that's the solution. The second question I asked is how much would you owe in total? So you really want to add the amount you borrowed, add it to the amount of interest they're going to charge you. And once you add these two numbers together, in total you would owe $238.95. Just to give you some background on taxes, please be aware that when people talk about taxes, there are many different kinds of taxes. A sales tax is based on your state's tax rate. Kentucky has a 6% sales tax rate. Your sales tax is due at your point of sale, your POS, point of sale, when you make the purchase. So it could be a purchase of groceries, cars. Also, you are taxed on services, such as hotels, phone carrier services, airlines, etc. Many other services charge tax. There's also income tax, state tax, and federal tax are the ones that are due every year on April 15th. Many people also owe property tax, which is 1 to 2% of the value of the house. But only homeowners pay for that, not apartment dwellers. Gratuity is also another word for a tip, and usually that would be 15% before taxes, pre-tax, for a meal. So let's say you went to a restaurant and your meal was $15. Required by law, this is the sales tax that I was referring to, 6%. So 6% as a decimal is 0.06. $15 times 0.06 is 0.9, which is 90 cents. So if you add the meal price and the tax, you will owe $15.90. If you prefer to leave a tip, generally it's optional, and since most waiters and waitresses do not make minimum wage, they rely on their tips to pay their bills. So the standard is 15%, and remember, pre-tax. So before the 90 cents is added, you would find 15 times 0.15 is 15 times 0.15 equals $2.25. So now the meal with no tip is $15.90, but with a tip you would have the meal with the tax and now the tip that you figured, and add those together, and your final price upon walking out the door would be $18.15. Some restaurants alert you that they will require you to tip the waiter or waitress by including it in the bill. And that completes this lesson.